Hello and welcome to Business Arena on TVP World. I'm your host, Marie Cato. Join me for the latest business headlines of the day. And we start with a surprise from the world of macroeconomics. January inflation in Poland has exceeded analysts' expectations, surging to 5.3%. This is a level not seen since December 2023 and makes Poland a country with one of the highest inflation rates in Europe. Inflation has been fueled by rising natural gas prices and hikes in excise taxes. According to some forecasts, the indicator will grow even higher in the coming months before easing somewhat in mid-2025. Growing inflation has forced the Polish central bank to adopt a hawkish stance and keep interest rates at one of the highest levels in Europe. According to the forecasts, the first interest rate cuts in Poland can be expected in the second half of the year. Inflation isn't the only worrying data from Friday's release from Statistics Poland. Another one is Polish exports, which registered a slump in 2024, falling by more than 6% year on year. Analysts say this is caused by the weak demand from EU giants, but are optimistic that countries outside the bloc could mitigate this fallout.
2024 proved challenging for Polish exports, which shrank for the first time in nearly a decade, driven by the woes of the country's largest export destinations.
It's related to general situation in the European Union. 80% of Polish exports goes to EU, and if economic growth there is stagnant, and if industrial production there is in fact falling, it also influences Polish exports.
Poland's cross-border sales fell by 6.3% in 2024, totaling approximately 1.5 trillion zloty, or 350 billion euros. This weighed on the trade balance, which, while still positive, shrank by more than 42 billion zloty. The release of the figures comes as the zloty has risen to its highest level against the euro in nearly 80 years. The rise had no impact on last year's export figures, however, and despite some analysts worrying about the competitiveness of Polish exporters, Walewski believes this situation will have little immediate effect.
There is some relation, but it's very weak and quite long time. You know, we import in euro, we export in euro. In fact, it's more impacting the profit margins of exporters than actual costs and actual competitiveness of them. Obviously, in long term, it transmits, but it's the long term process.
For decades, Polish exports have been a key driver of the Polish economy, growing more than 12-fold since the turn of the century. However, this rapid growth is unlikely to continue at the same pace in the coming years.
I think that the weakening of exports dynamics is the new normal because we have less and less favorable environment for global trade. Yeah, with increasing tariffs, with increasing tendency to look for local production, to protectionism.
Despite reduced demand within the EU, Walewski believes Poland's economy remains competitive on the global stage, with potential to expand exports beyond the 27-nation bloc.
Export has been one of the most important engines for Polish growth for the past 30 years, but has it run out of fuel? Does the 2024 drop in exports mark a new normal, or is it just a temporary hiccup? We'll look for the answer on The Bottom Line, so stay with us after the news. Almost a quarter of surveyed companies are using AI to assist them in financial operations, according to a recent KPMG report. Additionally, almost 60% claim that the return on investment achieved thanks to AI exceeds expectations. KPMG's report highlights that AI is making its way into finance and accounting departments. 24% of companies that took part in the KPMG study are already using the technology in this way, and almost two-thirds of businesses expect the return on investment from implementing AI systems to be higher than initially predicted. According to the KPMG report, organizations deemed leaders in AI implementation are also at the forefront of addressing numerous challenges related to AI, such as data quality, AI management and transparency, and employee training. Valentine's Day is here and Poles are ready to open their hearts and their wallets in the name of love. With restaurants booking up fast and floral shops stocking extra bouquets, it seems the annual celebration of romance continues to grow in popularity. But just how much are Poles really willing to spend?
Hearts are fluttering, and so are the banknotes. According to a survey by PayPro, a payment processor, 1/3 of Poles plan to spend between 25 and 50 euros on Valentine's gifts. That's a sweet spot for many couples, enough to cover a thoughtful present without breaking the bank. Now, to see what people really think, we hit the streets of Warsaw.
We'll celebrate in my place. It's cheaper that way.
I'm not giving any presents, but I'll certainly spend some money on her.
We'll definitely spend more on dinner and a date. It's natural to pay a bit more.
A casual dinner, a bouquet of flowers.
I don't count every złoty when it comes to my loved one.
Not a lot, but you know, for a nice food, for a nice gift.
Meanwhile, a recent Velo Bank survey shows that 1 in 5 Poles plan to dine at a restaurant or catch a movie on Valentine's Day, a more common choice among 18 to 24-year-olds. How do Polish restaurateurs view this trend?
We notice a new trend now. Girls are taking boys out for tartar and optionally a shot of iced vodka. So far, restaurant goers have opted for more romantic spots. Yet now we see more people willing to celebrate in a more traditional venue such as ours.
No Valentine's Day will be complete without flowers. In fact, 23% of respondents say they'll opt for a bouquet. But it's getting pricey each year, florist warn.
We do have more customers this year, but in terms of cash, turnover hasn't really improved because roses get more expensive around Valentine's, even at flower markets. Those sellers in Colombia want to make money too, you know.
Regardless of their exact sum spent, giving gifts brings joy. 94% of Poles say that they enjoy showering loved ones with tokens of affection, while only 4% see it as an obligation. It seems, for most people, the spirit of Valentine's Day is well worth the price.
And that's all for our business news updates today. For more business stories, check out tvpworld.com.